Hey, this is Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. Welcome to the first day of the new catalog. It has been a crazy few days working up to the new catalog. It never fails. That's Murphy's Law, that when something like the new annual catalog is going to launch, lots of things happen that have to get done before that. So, starting with the weekend, my husband suggested that when I started this video, I show you what I was working on and then what I actually didn't get done. So I haven't done an article. Sunday I had a blog hop, and it was, a retiring from the last year's catalog item. I already had it made. The article was done. But I wanted to get between Monday and today, I wanted to get a couple more videos done, or not videos, just blog articles done. And Monday we actually had scheduled our annual exams. We are only in our home area a very short time every year, so a year in advance we make all of our appointments. So we had 3 appointments on Monday, and they were spread out throughout the day. So that day was not a good day for doing crafting. And then Tuesday, we had to move, and we live in a trailer. But with the COVID virus, we had been sheltering in place at a particular campground that very graciously allowed us and all of the people there to stay. We had to commit to stay, so we were there for 2 months, and we're never in one place for 2 months. So we had so much to put away, and so much stuff comes out when you stay longer than you're normal. Like, we're used to staying in a place for maybe 7 to 21 days. The maximum we ever stay typically is 21 days, because that's how our membership works, that we get to stay in a park for 21 days and then we have to move. So we had a ton of stuff to do yesterday to get prepared. I mean, everything from, we had to take everything out of the basement. Our trailer is very small, or short, but it has a pretty large basement. That's one of the benefits of a fifth wheel. So we had to take everything out. We had a water issue that we had to investigate and deal with. So we've dealt with that. That's very exciting to have to deal with that. And, we were worried that the water was coming from, the plumbing somewhere, perhaps the toilet, black tank. And it wasn't. It was actually fresh water. We still have to investigate further, but at least we know we weren't driving down the road with a whole bunch of extra black sewer water with us. So that was good, but it did take away from me being able to craft. And then this morning I had a big order to put in, not just for me, which normally I just for an annual catalog will put orders in, but I had requests from customers as well. And on a first day of the new catalog, things can get kind of weird on the website. So I thought, nope, I will just go ahead and do a party. So I did a workshop party and had a bunch of things to do and get situated. So all morning I did that. And I determined that, by golly, I am going to work on with my new stuff. I have actually spent I think I have had my pre-order for 3 weeks or so, and I think I've made 1 or 2 items with it. Like, I did an in-color card and posted it and used a couple of other items. But for the most part, my bundles that I bought, I have not touched. So this first is the last card, or stamp set, I should say, that I had not used. I tried very hard to only buy what I will use, either in the videos, on my blog, or for my own card giving. And I've done really well this year. This was the last set left in my need to use. So here's how far I got. I actually did make some progress. I worked, because of the way this set is, I thought it would be really good for beginner stampers. So I made this very simple card, 2 colors. I used markers. Years ago, when I was doing stamps back, that'd be 25 to 30 years ago, I would buy the markers with the brush tips and then the thin tip on the other side. And I had my stamps, and I would hand color my stamps. I only owned one rainbow pad. So this was kind of like going back into the way I did things for years. Back in the day, they also used glossy cardstock, not this flat matte cardstock. So here I was, I made this particular one, and it's a photopolymer stamp. So I had to go in and do a little bit of fixing that you may or may not be able to see here. But I think overall, as just a basic card, and I would move it up if I were to want to just give this as a one layer card. But still, it was kind of fun. And then the next one that I did actually came out a lot better. I was just fussing around, and I think this came out very well for a one layer card with 2 inks. It is Shaded Spruce and Gorgeous Grape. I picked those colors because I don't use them very often. So even this black and red, this is Real Red, and the basic black marker. And I own the full set of the Marvelous markers. So this is, or was going to be, articles to show how somebody just starting out can actually get, you know, quite a bit of colors if they buy the markers, and coloring in the inks works really well. And then I never got them posted. So I want to show that sometimes life gets in the way and stops you from finishing your projects that you have every intention of finishing. So I got pretty far. I don't feel too bad. So that's those. And now today, in the midst of everything going on today, because we got moved yesterday, so today was bring everything back out that had been stashed for the move. I had to cut down a bunch of my I bought 2 DSPs. I trimmed them down to 4x6s and put them in my box that has all of my cardstock and my embossing folders and my generic dies. So I did that. And then I was working on about 5 bundles. And these 2 bundles are in various states of being what I would call ready to use. This one is the most ready, and it has when you first get a stamp set, you get the full rubber plate, I guess, and you can then pop out your stamps. And then there's these cling stamps are awesome. They go on the backs, and they are very clingy. So your stamps will stick to acrylic blocks. So I got as far as removing all of the protective backing and removing the plate material. And this is the matching die set. I used to glue the magnet material directly to the plastic, but I'm finding when I do that, I put my stamps in a place that gets very hot and very cold because it's against the outside wall, and we're not in a stick home, you know, we're in a trailer. So I have shifted to the material that comes with the dies, and the dies are glued. You can see the tape. That is actually really good sticky tape. So I have taken to doing this strategy, and then my dies are somewhat loose inside the case, and I find they stick better, and they can move around somewhat so they don't pop off. And I picked some elements from this stamp set and the dies, and then I've started working on this particular stamp set, which I pulled out a stamp and some dies. And so I just thought I would show you really quick how this works. If maybe you've been watching some of these and you haven't seen the Stampin' Up products and how they come when you buy them. So you go ahead and you peel off all of the protective paper. It feels like paper, and it's actually shiny on one side and flat on the other side. The stamps themselves almost come out. They're usually just held in by a couple of pieces, and then they stick to the front with or without the cling. Now the cling, benefit of the cling, if you've wondered, is it allows you to see when you put it on an acrylic block, you can see when you stamp where it's going to go. So that's the benefit of these. I know a lot of people who don't use them, they don't bother putting the stickers on. They just use the stamps without the detail on the back. This is the die set for this particular set. And I shape the magnet. I don't want to use a full piece of magnet. I cut down my magnet and I just put enough on the paper to cover the tape and to be able to have the the dies be safe. All right, so this particular set, you'll see it has two world images. It has the North and South America and Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia on the other side of the world. And I will tell you, I had an embossing folder. I think it was a Stampin' Up! Embossing folder well before I was a demonstrator. I bought it, didn't even think about it. It comes, and it was Europe. It was like, oh, well, I don't really mail anything to Europe, and so it's not that I didn't use the embossing folder, but it just didn't have the same impact when I realized that the place where I live and where I will send people aren't even on the map. So here it is. I love that the globe has both options. Not only that, they also provided two dies. And that, I think, is significant. You've got the North American and the European, Asian, Africa, and Australia, all covered, so no matter where you are in the world, you are covered. So I just wanted to point that out about the set because I noticed it as I was working with it. And now I wanted to talk about my projects. A lot of times will have something like the paper pumpkin, and that gives me ideas because it comes, with certain images. So when I don't have any criteria, I just like to start pulling out stuff and cutting some things, embossing some things, and just see where I get led, which path. So here's the path that I have been led using these two stamp sets. And I did use one stamp from what's called Waterfront. It's been out for a few years now, and it is the word friend. So I have a task to send to actually my team leader, and she'll probably see this video, but I need to make her a card. And I know she's not an overly flowery person, so I thought I would make a card that had leaves and still make it feminine. So the idea is to make it feminine, but not with flowers. So that's the challenge. And I have purchased these gold elements. So I had the gold elements out because you need to take them out. I wanted to show you this too. So these elements come on a sheet. It's not a 12 by 12. It is in fact 9.5 by 9.5. And I see I missed one. So you get, I don't know how many sheets of these, 2 sheets of this size, and then 3 or 4 sheets, probably 4 sheets of all of these different filigree leaves and sprigs and stuff. Ferns, leaves, here's the big fern. And you get 3 shapes, different shapes with the corners, and you get one circular one, which is buried here in my pile. And I wanted to pull out and take them off of their sheet, as you've seen, and I am storing them in a stamp case. I don't have them all nice and neat in the stamp case because I've been pulling and picking and using them, but this is an empty stamp case. I will be storing these. Here's the really pretty fern. I love how delicate it is. And then I really like this delicate one as well. So I got that done and started working on a card for my team leader. And she likes really pretty cards with lots of layers. And so I started with, I picked this, and I put underneath it a thin edge of early espresso. So that's what I started with. Then as I was building a focal, it started to shape up like this. In fact, this is it. I had this new gold thread that gets all fringy on the ends, and so I did 3 figure eights and scotch taped them down on this spriggy looking, this is from the Tasteful Touches. That is one of the dies for this set. And as I was going along, I was going to use a horizontal sentiment that's quite long, but I like a vertical card, and I have a vertical tile. It's the first time I've ever seen a tile collection of the DSP, all different types of tile, mosaic, chevron, there's wood on the other side, different colors of wood. I've seen, you know, wood's been around for years, but I've never seen this, so that's why I started with picking one of the tiles. I then embossed it with the texture embossing folder, which you can't see all that well. You just can tell that this busy pattern is not a smooth pattern. It has some tooth to it. So if you wouldn't know, you would think that the paper came that way. And then I got going with this focal. I like to build up my focals and then put them all together and move them around. So my focal, I picked You Make the World a Better Place because I feel that my team leader does make the world a better place. So that's popped up, and I have these different sprigs. I haven't decided, so I haven't even finished these, the 2 that I ended up working on. Here's some different pieces I have that I have been playing with, and there's that. So I'm coming along, and I had this on top of early espresso, and I started thinking about the globe, and I love that it says you make the world a better place, and so it just ended up extending into me exploring the different elements that come with the Beautiful World stamp set. And so I cut out the North American version of the globe, and to save on cardstock I picked a spot. This is also, so both of these layers have been treated with the new texture embossing folder, which I can't remember what it's called. Now that it's legal for me to bring out the catalog, because until today you could not actually show anything but the front of the catalog. So here's my catalog. I had it bound. This is my 3-page wish list. This will last me all year. And there is a beginner brochure. So when I had this bound, I had them bind these together because these beginner brochures have products that are for sale that are unique to this catalog and aren't in the big catalog, and I keep losing it because it's so small. So it's bound. I have my tabs, which are the different categories in the catalog. I'm going to go back to embossing and tell you the name of the new textured. It's called Tasteful Textile. So like the subtle is in lines and the Tasteful Textile is in like kind of like little chevron-y looking squarish things. It's very pretty. And then the third one that's new for this year that's also a texture is the Old World paper. So this is my catalog. I love it. I love every catalog. I save them all. I bind them all. I keep my order lists just because I keep them forever. And when I decided I liked the world and I popped out from the early espresso, I then just for giggles threw this on it. And when I did that, I went, ooh, that's really pretty. That's very masculine. And in the middle of all of this, I had pulled out 3 dies that I liked from the Tasteful Touches bundle. You've seen that I have this one with the sprigs on it. This has the sentiment on it. And then I had this sitting out. So what I did with this, knowing I wanted a many layered card, is I went ahead and found the waterfront stamp set that has the friend that I had in mind. I used Versamark and gold embossing. And I plan on now building out 2 cards instead of 1. Now, one thing to point out with this particular full background gold foil is it is not an increment that fits A2 size. It's actually the right height, but it's narrower, probably just to try to get as many on the paper as makes sense. They had to make them a little bit smaller. So this is 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. So to prepare this card to be ready, I had to trim down the early espresso from the A2 size, and I wanted a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch border all the way around. Then I also had to trim a base, which is a thick white, which I always use. And this is what it looks like. So then to build this one out, I did try popping on this focal, which was fine, and it would work, but I already really wanted this focal to be on the texture tile. So I thought, all right, I will make a masculine card out of this by using this wonderful early espresso. It's a velvety feeling, really kind of a thick trim. And then I want friend to be down here. The You Make the World a Better Place in this case is not actually attached, so I have it going offset. And then the world, I tried the world without the round early espresso behind it, and it fought with the diagonal rectangular shapes. So this is going to be 1 card. Absolutely love it. If I wanted to, I could pop out the You Make the World a Better Place friend to a Happy Birthday friend. I haven't really searched for a happy birthday. It would need to be a fairly tall happy birthday, but I do have the squares from Tasteful Touches that can kind of fill out. That's what I did on this one. So I could do that again above and below a happy birthday. I have a lot of men in my family, so I'm always looking for good masculine elements, and you'll see that all of these can go masculine or feminine, and that's why I choose to get the cards that can go either way. So that's the first one. And then this one also goes on a white base. These aren't fixed. The gold thread is fixed, but not the sprigs. I will play around with them until I find the perfect sprig combination. I will have to cut another label here for the sentiment, either using the same or changing it, and then the word friend. Oh, in fact, this actually has to go this way. I have a particular reason why I will show you in a minute. I really liked, these are just all the little details. This is why I'm not a fast crafter. I liked having friend snugged up underneath the fringe, just barely below the white, and I want this this bit of loose thread overlapping it. And then the final decision on here, I love this card, is do I rough up the edges of the textile? I'm kind of thinking not, because they're a clean cut tile and I want to keep that clean cut look. And then the last bit is whether or not, if I do 2 open sprigs, I was contemplating a final solid sprig on top. And I have 2 of those, this one and that one, to play with. So those are my 2 projects. I am really enjoying the new stuff. I have my order now. What happened is the pre-order did not include the inks. So I have ordered all of the re-inkers to go on my spots. I had to order the markers, the Many Marvelous markers in the new in colors, and new cards. The new pattern DSP wasn't available, so I got that in all but subtle. I find I use that a lot. I just really like to do projects with the patterns, and this year's patterns for the DSP changes every year for the pattern DSP. And here is the cinnamon cider. So all of the new DSP patterns are going to have a wood grain. I love wood grain on everything, so of course that meant that was a gonna get it for sure. I like the sort of textury with white mottled, kind of looks like canvas or some sort of a linen pattern. On the back we have some circles with lines in them, and we have some words. I haven't even read the words. This is actually in different languages. To love what we do and share what we love. And then I believe that's in French. So it is repeated over and over again in all sorts of languages. And it's just a wonderful paper. I am so glad I got this. The only one you could get for the pre-order was the in color, the new in color. So that's what I got. So what's coming is all sorts of more fun stuff, mostly inks related. Oh, they didn't have a lot of embellishments offered. I got what I could, and then I do like to do a lot of embellishing. I don't like a plain Jane card. I haven't even brought out embellishments for either of these. This is a masculine, so I'm kind of limited with the masculine one, which is why I got the buckles. I might even have to get a second buckles to last all of my masculine possibilities for the year. So that's always nice. And then I love that the feminine cards I can load up with all sorts of fun embellishments. So I got most of the embellishments, I would say. The blends, alcohol markers, have 5 new colors this year, or in the new annual catalog. So I got those, as well as some stamp sets that are coloring. I love to do coloring. So the bundles that I got for the pre-order, none of them, here they are, none of them, you've already seen the other 2. Oh, I guess I only bought 4. None of these are coloring. I guess you could do some coloring with the Tasteful Touches floral flower. So the additional products that I bought are actually 3 sets, all for coloring. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to create projects and share them with you all. All right, so that's all I've got. I just wanted to pop in and kind of talk about my process, how my week has gone. I am very excited to have my order in. And I'm sitting here with my website that there's some promotions going on, of course. One of the promotions is if you want to host a party, you can, if you sell $250 or more, you get an additional $25 of rewards money, which is very fun. So it, in essence, kind of doubles what the normal bonus is for rewards. And then the second promotion is signing up as a demonstrator you get to pick, on top of the $99 of free product, you get to pick any bundle you want. And so that is like a no-brainer. So basically the trick is, if you are looking at ordering products and you're nearing the $100 mark, you might as well become a demonstrator. There is no penalty for you becoming a demonstrator and not making any sales and just selling to yourself. There is a minimum. It is not a hard minimum to meet. But if you don't meet it, you just drop off. So it's not like there's any penalty or any judgment at all. They don't spam. If you are not making sales, they will nudge you in the direction, but it's not a high pressure sales job by any stretch of the imagination. And in fact, when I signed up, I wasn't envisioning being a demonstrator long term. I actually signed up just to help out the demonstrator that I had been buying from earn her trip. She needed one more sign up for earning the points needed for the trip. And I signed up and then kind of went, wow, I'm retired. This might be a good match for me. And it has been. So I hope you enjoyed me sharing my new catalog day with you all and the days leading up to it. And I wish you all to be safe. And hopefully the whole coronavirus thing isn't causing too much of an issue for everybody. I just really worry about where people are at and their health and work and all that stuff that goes along with being in a pandemic for the first time ever. And thanks for watching.